you played overseas for 8 years. Like, how did you manage your, like, what has been your journey with like health, wellness, performance? Like, how has that evolved through the years? And like, how did you manage? Like, I'm just thinking, I guess when you're 18, maybe it's fine, but I'm just like, oh my God, playing in New Zealand and then coming back, playing in California, and then also balancing school. Like, that just sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I can say I've always been healthy. My mom is very onto it. So I think, and she cooked the most amazing meals. I call her the Chinese Martha Stewart. I would come home, to these, we'd always have a candlelit dinner. She would cook the most amazing dinners, and then I would take the leftovers to school, which obviously I did not appreciate at all as a high school student. I
Yeah.
wanted to eat in the cafeteria. I think a lot of children of immigrant families have that experience, but now looking back, I was so lucky. I was so well nourished.
Yeah.
And then I went off to school and I was like chicken tenders, French fries, ice cream. I didn't gain weight somehow, but I just ate, whatever. It was so amazing to kind of like be free. I never was allowed like sweets or sugar really, and I am obsessed with candy now. But it wasn't until I really was how I feel like on my own when I went to play in Sweden that I really started to think about how am I going to sustain this lifestyle? How am I going to have like a long career? How will I have the energy to do? I wanted to learn the language. So I was taking Swedish classes. We had a very, very, very packed schedule in Europe. You're playing your league, you have cup games, Champions League. This was the top team in Sweden. So, so, so busy. And also didn't recognize any of the ingredients and reading labels and trying to figure out how to be healthy, have energy, all of those things. And that's when I took my health coaching course, and I learned so much, and I became so passionate about cooking. And I was lucky to have my mom and then my roommates, and this is when I was really on my own. I'm like, I gotta figure this out for myself. Wasn't making a lot of money. Most women athletes aren't. Don't want to be eating out all the time. So started cooking and started really learning about what I needed and tried everything: low carb, high carb, no sugar, no whatever, all of these things, gluten free. I just loved experimenting and kind of seeing what worked for me. And so that kind of just, I kept building with that. Until now, really, where I feel like I know my body so well. I know what I need, and I love spreading and sharing information to, especially for young girls, to make sure that they're fueling their bodies as young
Yeah.
athletes.
It's interesting. I had a similar, like, I did it all, like low carb, keto, gluten free, dairy free, like, I mean, all of it. Like,
Yeah.
and then you do it all. And then, like, how do you feel? Like, where did you net out? I guess I'm just curious where you.
Yes. So I netted out as a self-proclaimed flexitarian. I try to eat plant-based as much as possible, mostly vegetarian. But realistically, with the way we travel, we go, especially with the national team, we're in New Caledonia for 3 weeks. And, I had a vegan teammate and she was eating just canned tomato soup. And like, I can't perform on that. Like, and I am not dedicated enough. I have so much respect for her, but I'm not committed to the cause enough to sacrifice my performance or be prepared enough to have my whole suitcase basically
Yeah, for sure.
food. Again, I really, really respect her. So I when I can, I eat plant-based, but there's some things like char siu bao is what I grew up eating that my grandmother would make. It's barbecue pork buns, Chinese dim sum. Um, Cheese is probably my favorite food in the whole world. Like there's just things that make me really, really happy and connect
Yeah.
me to, Manuka honey is from New Zealand. It's again one of my favorite flavors. And so I have this balance of just wanting to feel really good, but also do my part and try to make a positive impact on the planet. And yeah, I think it's hard. There's so much information out there. There's so many people who want to know what they should do, how they should eat. And I think you have to put in the work to really do self-discovery. And doing the cookbook with my teammate was incredible. And she's vegan. And I love our recipes. And I
Is
think,
this the same tomato soup vegan teammate?
no, no.
Okay. This
This
is
is
different.
Tony
Okay.
Presley. We played together in Orlando. And so we did Girls Gone Veg together. And I love like signing a cookbook at my game for the first time was the most surreal experience. It was so, I can't even believe when people buy my jerseys, let alone like bring a cookbook that I made to a
That's so
game.
cool.
But yeah, it was really awesome doing that with her. I learned a lot about plant-based eating and yeah, just being flexible, being prepared. And so that's kind of my
Yeah.
flexitarian, probably 80% vegetarian at this point.
Yeah. I feel like I netted out like, we've really overcomplicated this thing. Like, just eat real food, and
Hmm.
you've won like most of the battle. Like,
Yeah.
what are we fighting about here? But yeah,
Yeah.